What role does your local jail play in the border crisis? My name is Charles Blaine, and this is Texas Tomorrow. You might have heard the saying that all politics is local. Well, so is all public policy, or at least the implementation of it. States and federal governments make policy all the time, whether through elected official or through unelected bureaucrat. And at the end of the day, it often falls on local governments across the country and across our state to implement it, or in many cases, fight it. Immigration battle is no different. Last week at the National Sheriff's Convention in Washington, D.C., Border Czar Tom Homan told the group of sheriffs gathered from around the country that the Trump administration would change standards required to hold illegal immigrants. This is so that sheriffs, local sheriffs, could adhere to their state-based standards rather than federal standards. The goal is that by allowing them to avoid more rigorous ICE standards, it would make it easier for sheriffs to comply, and in most cases, sheriffs oversee the county jail, where these immigrants would be housed while they await deportation or trial. ICE is funded to maintain a daily average of around 41,500 immigrants per day, and right now they're maintaining about 40,000 per day, and they're arresting 900 to 1,200 per day. So of course they need the help, and they need the capacity, and the implementation of this policy from local sheriffs. It actually makes sense when the Border Czar put it this way. He said, if your standards are good enough for American citizens, then they should be good enough for illegal immigrants. Make sense? But what if your standards aren't necessarily good enough for American citizens? States and jails across the state often find themselves out of compliance with standards. Many of our Texas counties find their jails overcrowded and understaffed, especially in our largest counties, and they've already been doing things like shipping inmates to other states to house them and dismissing charges or letting people out on bond who otherwise should be held. Just to make more space, before this policy change even happened, they were doing this. You can go to the Texas Commission on Jail Standards and see the list of non-compliant jails across the state. Many of them cite overcrowding and understaffing. Harris County, the largest in the state, repeatedly gets hit by the commission for being out of compliance. This has led to jail deaths, injury of officers, a $25 million contract to outsource inmates to other states, and the release of violent criminals back into the streets. And they don't just stay in Harris County or in these other non-compliant counties. They go back to where they came from. That's just where they were arrested. So understand that while the policy sounds great coming from the federal government, you shouldn't cheer unless you know your local government has the capacity and willingness to implement it. You can watch the Texas Commission on Jail Standards meetings. You can look up the jail capacity in many counties on their local websites. You can look at your commissioner's court meetings and find out how much they're funding the jail and the sheriff's office. Are they over capacity? And if they are, how they're handling it. And you can, of course, just ask your elected officials, including your sheriff, directly if they intend on implementing this policy and being a part of the solution or staying a part of the problem. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Texas Tomorrow. Please like, share, comment, and let us know if there's something going on in your neighborhood that you'd like us to talk about.